Hello there, dudes and dudettes. Welcome to my very first video review for one of the video games that I have played. I'm sorry I can't give you any, gameplay videos because I am saving for a capture card, which I will get. I don't have money. So, yeah, that's going to take some time. But I can give you my own video review of one of the video games that I played, which I can't do a gameplay video of, as I said before, but I can give you my opinions, my story, my review, how I played the game and stuff like that. So, the video game that I am going to review of is the game Beyond Two Souls. This is a game created by the critically acclaimed director David Cage, the maker of Heavy Rain, great game. And also some game called Indigo Fahrenheit, or Prophecy. There's tons of freaking names, I don't know what it's called. So my opinions on this game, well, as you know, it stars famous celebrities Ellen Page and William Dafoe. Unfortunately, I only know William Dafoe from the film Spider-Man. If there are any other movies that he's from, please tell me, because I don't do this much research. But Ellen Page, I definitely know. She starred in Juno, X-Men Last Stand, Whip It, some movie called Super, which is a great movie, you should watch that. And yeah, so now they try their hands at the video game world. Now, the director David Cage, he's famous for making video games he's famous for blending the world of games and movies together into one blissful harmony. But unfortunately, his writing, though, I don't know, there were some points in if you played Heavy Rain, there were some plot points in that, but, well, we're talking about this game, so it also has a very, very strange accent. It's a bad mixture of American and French. Please, watch videos of this guy, he has a strange, it's like, the game Beyond Two Souls, it is the film of art. And the world of video games better than the Call of Duty. And that sounds freaking German. Or Russian, I don't know what that is. Right, anyways. So the game is about a girl called Jodie Holmes. And it's about ever since she was born, she's been linked to some sort of mysterious entity. Is it a ghost? Is it some sort of spirit who's passed away? No one knows. This is the mystery that develops around this game. Now, you play as Jodie throughout her entire life, through different points, different important events that have happened to her when she was a child, all the way to as an adult. And in the game, it constantly switches between different points of her life. So you play as her as a child, then a teenager, then an adult, then back to teenager, then back to child again, and back to adult. It gets really confusing. I don't know, some people may think it was better if we started as a child and worked away as an adult instead of constantly switching between different places. But I guess that's the mystery and the art of David Cage. So as you go through her life, she's trying to discover who this entity is, why she's connected to him. The entity is called Aiden, by the way. She calls it Aiden. I don't know how they got that name, and I think it's pronounced Aiden, but because of the David Cage's weird accent, he probably pronounces it Aidon. So she meets some scientists, they help her through it. One of the scientists is called Nathan Dawkins. He's played by Willem Dafoe. And as I said, I only seen him in Spider-Man. Please state any movie that he's been in. So throughout the entire game, you go through this struggling emotional storyline about how she constantly just stretches through life with this entity, this freaking invisible ghost, constantly messing up situations, like having relationships with someone, hanging out with friends. She gets recruited by the CIA, which is cool, and then she gets on the run, and then that's as much as I can reveal to you without revealing any important plot points or anything like that. And so you play as both Jodie and Aiden throughout this game. You learn how to fight, interact with objects as Jodie, and as Aiden, you can make things move, you can give shivers down people's spines, it's freaking hilarious. You can possess people, which is cool. You can Darth Vader chokehold someone. And so for all these points of her life, you just follow her life. It's her story, her amazing story, and it really is a good story. There are teary bits, there are bits that make you angry, and there's bits that makes you want to just sob, So let's talk about the gameplay. Okay, and as I've said, you play as both Jodie and Aiden. When you play as Jodie, you can interact with objects as like a little dot. You can just move the right analog stick. The right analog stick is your friend, your very friend. You use the analog stick so if you move it downwards, you can pick up a glass. If you move it upwards, you can jump or something like that. And you can hold down buttons to look at stuff. It's similar to the controls of Heavy Rain, except they're a lot more subtle. So like, they blend in with the background even, instead of just having constant buttons flying in your face. Then you play as Aiden. Aiden, you mainly use the analog sticks to control Aiden's actions. He floats around, he can float through walls, he can float anywhere. You can use the analog sticks to push something. You can use the analog sticks to force choke someone. You can possess someone where their eyes end up going like this or something. And I'm like, no, okay, I can't do that. So, yeah, and you can. The game has choices. It's a choices game, same as in Heavy Rain and Indigo Prophecy. Now, the bad thing about this is that the choices don't really seem to matter as much. This is probably going to be a bit of a spoiler, so spoiler alert in case anyone knows. Jodie can actually die until the end of the game when you're supposed to stop some big catastrophe. So it doesn't feel as immersive as Heavy Rain was. I mean, in Heavy Rain, you played as 4 people. If one of them died, no retries. The story just continues on. If all 4 characters die, then it's game over. And there's any situation where you could possibly die. But with Jodie, you can't die. It's just like if you mess up, something comes along and carries it on, or Aiden helps him, or a friend helps him. So, like I said, the game doesn't feel very immersive into this. The player doesn't feel very in-depth to the storyline. However, even though it doesn't feel like it, and I know it doesn't look like it time to time, but your choices do affect how Jodie's life carries on, how her life turns out. And your choices can also affect the survival of other players. So, some of your friends could die if you mess up. And you meet some fantastic people in this game. Do not let them die. And yet, the big choices do only come right at the end. But there are little choices throughout the entire game that do affect how her life turns out. What kind of person she becomes. With Aiden, though, Aiden is slightly different. I feel like you can create Aiden's personality. You can decide what kind of person he is. He can either be overprotective, he can be caring, he can be aggressive, he can just bitch slap some bully that comes at you. So, yeah, even though it doesn't look like it, and doesn't feel like it, the choices do affect the game, okay? So just keep that in mind. In terms of writing, though, I feel like... Now, David Cage is a wonderful director, I have to tell you that. But I feel like his way of writing, the way he plans out a story, it doesn't really work out well. Like I've said before, in Heavy Rain, there are some plot points. There are massive plot holes in some of the games, like why the hell did Shelby... No, that's spoilers. I'll just move on from that. So yeah, like, for example, there's a scene where Jodie goes to a party. She meets some teenagers, they have fun, they play some music sung by some bad 90s rapper. I don't know why that is cool with them. David Cage must have some stupid sense in music. So yeah, they're all nice. Well, they're not technically all nice, they kind of just ignore you slightly a bit. And you have fun with this guy, this cute guy who's in a band, who sounds like every girl I know's dream guy. You go in some teen rom-com kind of way with him. You could choose to get it on with him, just get it on. But then all of a sudden, when you give one of your friends this present about a book of poetry by Edgar Allan Poe, suddenly she turns into a massive bitch and they all just gang up on you and burn you with a cigarette and shove you under stairs. And it's like, you do feel bad. You do feel bad for this girl, but like, I felt like the scene was kind of forced. It was just forced out to have this situation, this emotional situation. And there are plenty of other scenes like that. So, yeah, I feel like David Cage's writing, it's like, the story doesn't feel more fluid. It doesn't feel very fluid and in tune with the rest of the story. So yeah, that's one of the faults of the game. There are some faults with the gameplay though. It's like I said before, you can control and interact with stuff. You walk around, you can see things. You make choices about what you say, what you do, and stuff like that. There's something about the combat though. The fighting with Jodie, it's a bit complicated. It does take some time getting used to. What you have to do is, when the screen slows down, you then have to push the right analog stick in the direction of Jodie's movements. So if she's going like this, you push the analog stick right and it finishes her move. That's how you fight in the game. But this can be very hard to see sometimes, because what if her arms are going that way, but her body's moving that way? You don't know which way you have to go. So, yeah, the combat does take some time getting used to, and if you do fail it, you can, mess everything up and stuff like that. So, the gameplay is all about you working like a team, working with Aiden, working with Jodie, and you just control these two characters to determine how the story plays out. Now, the writing does need a bit of work. I have to say, it does need a bit of work, but, it is a great game. It really is. It's something that everyone should experience. It's got all kinds of genres in it. Action, to mystery, to... There are horror elements in it. I have to admit, there are scary bits in the game. Like one minute where she's walking down a corridor and there's a dead guy on the floor, and then as soon as she's walking down the corridor, the dead guy's like this. And then it comes out to her like this, like eyes just go like that, blah, blah, blah. And then she's like, ah! And then, So yeah, there are scary bits in it. I do admit I did like shoot backwards, melt into the wall kind of thing. So yeah, it really is a great game, and the theatrical performances by Ellen Page and Willem Dafoe, they are amazing actors. They really are. They made this game. Ellen Page truly made this game, I have to admit, and I really hope that after this game, more famous celebrities like Ellen Page and Willem Dafoe, but the more famous Hollywood actors can get involved in video games. Now, I know previously there have been some famous celebrities, like Samuel L. Jackson played as a cop in Grand Theft Auto, Liam Neeson played as a scientist in Fallout 3. So yeah, I really want famous actors, because they can really make a game come to life. They can, with their voice acting, with their familiar voices, and the way how they can act in real movies. I think it's a great way to make video games more edgy and more in-depth, more realistic. But David Cage, however, he does need to improve the story with making the game more fluid, making everything work well together, and also make things a bit more realistic, not like those forced scenes like the kids bullying her in that scene that I told you about. So yeah, it really is a great game. I think everyone should play it. It truly is a great game to experience, but from a bigger perspective, I really don't think it's that much in the big next step in the evolution of gaming and stuff like that. But as for that, I do hope that more celebrities will get involved with video games after this. I really do. I really want more celebrities. I want to play as freaking... I don't know. I don't have that many famous celebrities. They're all fucked up for some reason. Okay, so, yeah, great game. Everyone should play it. And here's a little thing. As my video reviews, I want to ask a little question for any fans out there, if I have any fans out there, for you to answer this question and comment below in the comment section. So the question is, what would you do if you had an invisible